Hey guys, welcome to the latest episode of Beyond the Tape. This one's a little bit different. Both me, Jai, and Baxter sat down to have a bit of a chat. Obviously, being the three of us, it ended up being about an hour and 40 minutes. So it's a long one. We chat about racing, technical stuff with bike setup, general life stuff. And the guys asked me a few questions, which was a little bit weird and a little bit different. We go into a few things about why I started the podcast, some mental health issues, and basically my history in the sport and a few other things. But mainly it's just shit talking for probably a good hour and 30 minutes of it. So it is quite epic. As of course, this episode is brought to you by Canyon Bicycles. Those guys over there, they have been supporting me hugely for 2021. Big fan of the Spectral now that I've got it set up correctly. Loving that bike. It is super playful, goes down hills just as fast as it wants to go up hills. There's literally nothing it can't handle, and I'm comfortable doing shuttles on it, and I'm comfortable doing all-day epics on it. It's really, truly a good do-it-all bike. The suspension, of course, is being looked after by NSDynamics, another major sponsor of the podcast. Those guys do suspension servicing, suspension tuning. They stock Ohlins, they stock Cane Creek, they stock DVO. They do a bunch of cool stuff. If you want to get your suspension upgraded or you want to get your stuff serviced, then they are the best in Australia to do it. Again, on the Canyon, we've got some factor components. So we've got the pedals and the stem, and that's supported, and the guys at Tool Up Bicycle Co. have helped me out with those. If you're interested in any factor products, I've been using the Demonte lubes and greases in there as well, and I've been frothing on all their stuff. Can't wait to get a set of the Nova wheels as well. It's all high quality gear, and I'm in love with it. I wouldn't see me running any other pedals for sure. Huck the World have been on board for a long time as well. Been wearing this tech tee all day today, worked in it, rode in it, and it smells fantastic. If you want to get a discount over there, use Beyond the Tape 10 and they'll get you 10% off of all their gear and get you riding, working, living in comfort. Love their stuff, and every time they bring out a new t-shirt, the design process and the designs on there are so much better. Keeping my kit clean is Dirt Surfer Mudguards. Those guys do 100% recyclable, made from recycled plastics. Even the header cards are recycled plastics. They come with a cool coaster. The other rad thing is these things are completely customizable. So if you want to get one for your store, your club, use them as number plates for races, do anything with them, hit Alan up at sales@dirtsurfer.com.au and he'll help you out. Don't forget to use the code Beyond the Tape for 15% off there as well. We've also got Crush helping us out with a few promo things happening in the future, which is going to be rad as well. We're also got a bit of a discount code over at Fist. So if you use the code Beyond the Tape 15, you'll get 15% off, which is rad. Those gloves are absolutely epic, and I've been frothing on the Breezer gloves. Anyway, I think that's all the sponsors. Hopefully I haven't missed anyone out. Been absolutely frothing on them. Thanks for their support, and thanks for your support. Now grab a beer, grab a water, grab wine, grab whatever makes you happy. Have a listen to this podcast. It's a long one, but there's a whole amount of shit talked in it. So it's a good listen. Thank you and enjoy.
You didn't tell me that.
Have you not seen everything?
Nah.
Oh my god.
I saw like a photo of I've been off my phone.
Bro, go onto your phone right now, go on Instagram and go onto my profile. I had a hugie at the Gaza Fest.
That was brutal, hey?
Yeah.
Is there a video of it or just a photo?
Yeah, Billy following me through. That's a video. The captions like there's a 360 in the thumbnail.
How hard did that guy take your head out?
So rumors are there's a friend of mine that started seeing him recently, and he reckons he didn't actually hit me, and they reckon they've got video evidence that it looks like they hit me, but apparently there's another video that proves otherwise, and I just flinched away.
In the train?
Yeah, in the mega train.
Oh, you got the spin all good.
Mm-hmm. The first one.
Oh, is it? Oh no! Oh no! Holy shit! Did you knock yourself out?
Yeah, I was knocked out. I had a suspected broken neck until like midnight, and to top that all off, I don't even know if you know or not yet, Darren.
No, that dude definitely didn't hit you. I reckon. I reckon he just got
out of the way.
clean. Yeah.
So
It sounded
Yeah,
like it, yeah.
I completely missed that video. Hey, I was I don't know. I saw all the sick photos that you were posting as a fest, and then I saw the one of you like bailing on a 3 tuck, and I was like, "Oh, that looks pretty brutal." But if he was hurt, I'd know about it.
yeah, no, I got out of that one pretty good. That was earlier in this. So what's been happening? What's been happening with you guys then?
I've just been building the downhill track at Medina, building more big jumps. Yeah, got real. Well, I was talking to you on the phone the other day. I got real carried away in the 20-tonner and just built like a 70-foot step up. And then it was probably like a 40 or 50-foot beeline. And me and Darcy tried to like test jump the beeline, and we were going down the run in as fast as we could into the beeline, and like it worked sweet. So it was sort of like, there's no way in hell that you're going to get the A-line. So it's all changed now. Jumped it just like before I came out here. It works good now.
Yeah, that's perfect. So that's the freshened one, like the new A-line works all J.
Yeah, the new A-line's probably like 50 foot, but the old B-line was like an uphill into it to slow you down. But because I basically just moved the A-line forward, so it's got no uphill into it. It's like downhill all the way to the lip. So like, yeah, it works sweet now. Feels real nice.
How much have you shortened the B-line yet?
Yeah, the B-line's just like a tabletop on the back of the lander pretty much. It's just like a big uphill roller, and then just like a short tabletop so everyone can do a jump if they want.
Yeah, so is it going to be quicker still to hit the A-line?
Yeah, definitely. I rode the B-line and you lose so much speed like going uphill into it. So
yeah, so everyone should just hit the A-line.
Yeah, you should just hit the A-line. It's very mellow, like it's an easy jump.
When is Nationals? Is this podcast even going to come out before Nationals though?
I won't give away any secret lines on here then.
Yeah. Pretty sick if you gave them out and it came out later, and then people were like, "Fuck, I didn't even see that."
Yeah.
Considering the jump's like the only part done, right? So.
Yeah, well,
and the main rock wall at the start pad.
Yeah, no, there's like we're probably like 2/3 through the track, I reckon, or like by the end of this week we'll be 2/3 of the way through. So it's like the top section is really machine built, the bottom section is quite machine built. So we tried to like get those done first, so they had time to settle, and then the whole middle section, like we'll get it done earlier, but in theory we could finish it the day before practice and it wouldn't really matter because it's all just raw. Like if it blows out, then the more it blows out, the better.
It'd be pretty sick riding a whole fresh like Loma trail for national champs, because obviously we go to when I was going to Bright every time, like sickest track ever, but you don't get any Loma. It's fucking just full raw rocks, roots and all that sort of stuff. So it'd be pretty cool to ride on a fresh trail. And
remember how like the first year that we raced in Bright, people were like blowing out about how loamy that middle section was.
Yeah,
it's like that's just Australia loam. That's not loam.
Yeah.
It's a bit different down in Tassie though.
Yeah, definitely. Like the dirt's going to be a lot different to what people are expecting. I think like there's a lot of rock in it.
Yes.
And there's a lot of like shaly kind of stuff that I think will come out. So it's not just going to be like a full Loma like I think maybe some people have in their heads, but there's definitely sections that are just full soft, like through Bracken. That is like pretty cool dirt.
Yeah, sick. What have you been up to, Darren? What's been happening? You kicked off the podcast, you quit your job, you started your own garage. Give us a rundown.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, give us a rundown. How many have you done this year? We've done 3 so far.
Podcasts, 3. The 4th is about to come out. Yeah.
Yeah. Sick.
Can you tell us who it is? Because it'll come out before.
Yeah, it'll probably come out like tomorrow or something. It's Jack Moyer.
Yo!
Oh, sick.
I'm
keen to listen to that.
Man.
Hopefully it's good. I don't know. I just did the film cut up before. I think it's going to be pretty sick.
Yeah.
He's not like as talkative as I thought he would be.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he's a pretty reserved dude. from when I've had interactions with him.
But yeah, it's pretty interesting. He's got some good stories. But yeah, other than that,
don't want to give away too much.
What was your favorite? What was your favorite bit from it? Because now this is going to be a highlight for everyone else that listens to it. And if they haven't listened to it, they skip an episode and they're idiots.
Yeah,
and,
yeah. They'll be listening to this
just
being like, "Oh, damn, I'm blowing it."
I don't know, man. Just him talking about like that whole bike setup thing he had when they went to, because you know how they went to Aaron Gwynn and Gwynn just brought all his parts across.
Yeah.
And he just like. He had a better season in 2017, I think, when he was injured than when he did have a full season on that bike.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Everyone says like a pro rider can ride everything, but I don't think so.
No, you still got to have your like preferred setup and stuff like that, and then not every bike works for everyone as well. Like different styles of riding and stuff like that will react differently as well. So it's like, you know, a pivot or something might work really good for someone else, or a Canyon, or like a V10 or something like that. But yeah, I guess it's not for everyone as well. So, and that's just frames, and then you go into like tire choice and everything on top of that as well.
Yeah, well, there's not many people that can ride an operator as fast as Connor.
No one can.
Yeah, that's it. Like, it's pretty crazy, but it seems to be working for Jackson as well, I suppose. But
yeah, well, I can't say too much, but apparently he's got some things changing this year as well, Jackson.
Ooh.
Big team.
Team rumors.
I don't think it's a team rumor. But yeah, I think he's changing up a few things, which is sick.
Yeah.
But there's not many other team rumors from Australia though. So
is there not? Maybe you just don't know about them.
Yeah. What have you got on the go, Baxter?
Oh, I got no team rumors on the go.
Your big thing came out with Fly already. That's been and done.
That's my big bit for a while. I think. Nice change.
Yeah, that's good. I'm happy for you.
Yeah, thanks, Jai.
And then Jai's just got no frame sponsor now.
Cruising, I guess. Well, I'm talking to a couple of different. Hey.
That's the biggest team rumor, right?
Yeah, well, that's why I tried to put in my bio that I don't have a bike sponsor. It wasn't that I was fishing for a bike sponsor. It was just that I wanted to clear the air and make sure people weren't asking, "Oh, where are you going next? Where are you going next?" Because I don't have a plan. Just cruising. But I've been talking to one company in particular, but we'll just sort of see where that goes for now and keep that on the down low till I know what's going on. But
Well, what if it comes out by the time this comes out and then like that's old news? You don't need to keep it secret anymore.
Well, I guess that would be great for me because it means I have a bike sponsor pretty soon.
Yeah, that'd be pretty good.
But at the same time, to be honest, like I don't need any new bikes at the moment. Like I've had that process now for 3 years, but change the parts over pretty frequently and like replace bearings and stuff pretty frequently as well. So the bike's in pretty tip-top shape, and especially with the new suspension setup and stuff as well. So there's that. You know, I've got a new dirt jumper, a DMR, which I haven't had the chance to ride, the DMR Sect. And then what else? I've got my BMX. I bought my boss's old trail bike off him, a Trek Remedy. So like at the moment, I just have no need for any new bikes. I'm not really chasing for anything. I'm like, well, they'll work fine as it is. So
is your frame sponsor the only one that you dropped, or did you like just go full raw with everything? Or you still got Marzocchi and DMR and shit? Yeah,
still running like the DMR Marzocchi thing. Mitch from Pushies has been helping me out pretty well with that, which is pretty sick. And then
he's the best, eh?
Yeah, he's sick. And then the local distro and suspension service company here, Blue Shark. Well, I think they're mainly known by Blue Shark, but it might be like Mountain Bikes. Oh, I can't remember. They've got like a new like trading name on like the website or something like that. But they distro like Fox Marzocchi and stuff like that. So they've been pretty mean and helped me out with getting on the new suspension, which has been good because the Marzocchi stuff's like super simple for me, which is good because all I want to do is just like turn down the compression when I'm riding park, or like amp up the compression, slow down my rebound when I'm riding Dream Track and everything like that. I don't want to be playing around with like 4 different adjustments plus air pressure and stuff like that as well, because I don't need to fine tune it. It's just downhill laps or riding jumps. So I just have 2 settings. So
yeah, sick.
I'm just hanging for like a good air shock with like simple settings as well, because I'm running that Fox X2, and like it's great shot, but
They're
it's just
hard to
got
set
so
up,
many
though.
so many adjustments on it, and I just want rebound, compression, and air pressure, and I'll be happy.
Jai's a simple man.
It's like, yeah, all the kids that want to have like the best of the best stuff, but they don't know how to set up the suspension. It's kind of pointless in having it because it's not going to run the same as if you just set it up like correctly with simple settings. It's probably going to be better than if you don't know what you're doing. So, yeah,
100%.
that's my views on it. If you don't understand your suspension, there's not really any point in getting the best quality stuff, the most expensive. So,
No, like, but then at the end of the day, like if you're racing, suspensions realistically it's everything. Like,
oh, for sure.
If your suspension's not dialed in, then like, well, you may as well go home.
yeah,
Like,
for sure.
Like, well, that's like if you're there to try and like get a result. Like if you're there for fun, well, it doesn't matter. Just ride what you got. Run what you brung, sort of thing. But like if you're trying to take your racing seriously, like I think people overlook setting up their suspension good. Like I don't know, they're just like, oh, I need to get a different bike that works better. It's like you can make any bike work good enough if you know how to do it.
Yeah, that's true for sure.
People don't play around enough, hey? They just take it for how it is and go from there.
Yeah, I'm definitely one for that. I was starting to get it, like now that it's simpler, I'm taking down more instructions and stuff like that. I'm taking more notes and writing everything down. But with the same thing, I'm not like fighting for seconds and stuff like that. Like I'm just trying to have fun in the bike park if I'm going to go ride it. But then also like, it's so crazy because obviously like weather conditions change how it rides and stuff like that as well. So, even in the bike park here, like you could definitely be tweaking your suspension to suit what the terrain's like at the time and, what sort of trails you're riding, because you can go from riding jumps trail to like proper raw tech or just some, sneaky lomas out there. So it all changes so much throughout a bike park, which is pretty cool. But racer guy needs to know what they need to set up their suspension for on that specific track to suit their needs, definitely.
I used to be like you, Jai, where I was just like, cool, bike feels good, that'll do. Like, sweet, let's just ride it, the same thing everywhere. And then it wasn't until like my brother started working in like a moto suspension shop. So like he was coming home with all these like knowledge bombs of like how you need to set a bike up. And then that got me thinking. And then when we went to national champs last year, I was on that talk and I was kind of like, if I don't set this suspension up good, I'm going to die. Like, so that, and like putting in heaps of effort. Aaron helped me heaps. My brother helped me heaps over the phone, like getting that thing dialed in. And like that kind of opened up my eyes to how much of a difference it does make, especially when you are trying to like get, those 0.15ths of a second sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, it would have been dangerous if I had just set and forget that thing. Like,
yeah, for sure.
I would have killed myself.
And you definitely see so many people do it. Like even here, like in Queenstown, when I go up to Dream Track, because like I tell everyone that goes up to ride, I'm like, pump your tires up your compression, drop your rebound. And there's so many people that come from like racer setup and then come and ride Dream Track, and their suspension's fast, it's soft, and it is scary to watch. And then like, running like 22 PSI on your tires or something like that, and you just like, you can hear it like rolling off the rim up the lip. And you're like, oh my God. It's insane because it happens far too often. You try not to tell someone to do it and they're like, no, my bike setup's perfect. It's like, maybe not for this part.
Oh, it's even like I've even noticed it with those dirt jumps we built in Medina, like just something as simple as tire pressures. You'll see someone like roll into the first little setup berm and just like nearly roll their tire off the rim. You're like, you've got a jump bike and they've got just like normal pressures in that they'd have on any bike, like 30 PSI or something, being like, that's hard. It's like, you need like 60, 70, 80.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's just something that people don't even think about.
Oh, for sure. I remember, like, there's so many people when you go to the skate park and stuff like that, they take their dirt jumpers to the skate park and they hate skate parks. And then, like, it's because they're running 35 PSI and their tires on concrete. Yeah. And, like, the other thing I've had to explain to people, even riding dirt jumps, like, it's the same with forks and stuff as well, like running your forks out.
Yeah. I mean, I've converted everyone at the bike park that works here to, like, stiff forks on jump bikes.
Well,
Yeah,
like
100%. I don't.
you're not
Yeah.
looking for traction anywhere. So it's like
No.
the only reason that you have softer suspension is for traction and harsh impacts. The idea is to ride as smooth as you possibly can. So there shouldn't be any reason for drifting anywhere. There shouldn't be any reason that you're going like, well deep on a landing that you need suspension to take the impact.
And
Especially,
even if you do go like super flat, having your forks pumped up harder is going to be better anyway.
yeah, for sure. It's just, use your body as the suspension if you need to. Like, BMXs and stuff ride dirt jumps as well. They don't have any suspension. So why should you be using it? So,
Yeah, that's it. I like having. You would have met Pete Jai from like Macclesfield that had the jumps in his backyard.
Yeah.
Yeah, he always had his forks like way too soft, and you could just see how the bike and the lip was giving him feedback instead of him making everything do what he wanted it to do. Yeah. And then I saw the same thing in Medina. Like people would like run into a steep lip with soft forks, and it just makes the bike react all weird. Whereas it's like if you've got like my forks, for example, I think maximum a pike is supposed to take is like 250 psi, and I've got them pumped up to like nearly 300 and then locked out as well.
Yeah, I'm doing the same as well.
But like still through like a run, if I go like a bit deep or like I land super nosed in or something, like I'll still actually use some travel.
Yeah,
but like
you only really want to use like 30-40 mil max travel kind of thing.
Yeah, but like a car park test, you would think you'd think I had a steel rod in there.
Yeah. Do you run slow rebound on your dirt jumper as well?
That's actually something I haven't even thought about, but I suppose that would stiffen everything up as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it just stops giving you that feedback on the lip and stuff as well. Like I probably only run like 2 clicks of rebound on my dirt jumper. I run 5 clicks on the downhill bike for like dream track and stuff.
Yeah.
That's
from fully slow.
Yeah, from fully slow. 5 clicks. Which has been pretty good. And then I'm like in the bike park on my downhill bike, I'm like 10 clicks. I kind of basically double everything to like speed it all back up. I don't know whether that's the right thing to do or not, but I played around with it and that seems like the best kind of outcome. I was like, sweet. It was like half the PSI, half the rebound. Yeah.
I hear some guy has a workshop. I don't know, he might be like in this conversation.
I just tune suspension just by rider feel. It's so hard to say clicks and stuff like that, eh? Yeah.
Have you thought about like going down that path of like helping people set their bikes up? Because I feel like aside from NS, really, it's a fair gap in the market having people that can genuinely help set your bike up.
Yeah. Sure. Well, I did a test session with I sponsor a team here. They just they're sponsored by a beer company. They basically just travel around Australia and just do events and have fun.
Which beer company is it?
Pirate Life.
Sick.
So they do that, and one of them's pretty serious. The other guy's just out to have fun and rides pretty hard. But I did a setup session with them on Sunday, and that was sick. We didn't take anything apart or fully tune anything, but just watching them get an understanding of what each setting does is more important than anything.
Yeah.
Even when because you guys are you've been riding bikes forever, so you kind of know what's going on. Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah. But every time.
About 15 years of maybe it's kind of like this.
Yeah. I've had like 7 years of set and forget.
Yeah. But even with customers and stuff, I just, set their compression to full and then they go, oh shit, the suspension doesn't work now. And then you set it to wide open. Same with rebound and stuff like that. It's just good it's basically like what Geordie does from Fox. It's just bracketing, just working out which is for you. So
it is very personal, isn't it? But I suppose without any understanding of what changes make what stuff feel different, you don't know where to start.
Yeah, and you got to work out what people's vocabulary is as well. So if someone's saying it's hard in the top end, does that mean it's at the deep in their stroke, or is it top of their stroke, or you've got to work shit out? So that's the hardest thing.
Yeah, it's probably just a lack of education throughout like a fair bit of the mountain bike. There's probably heaps of people out there listening to this being like, oh, I know heaps about suspension, but I don't
There's
know.
too much, eh? I
Yeah.
genuinely reckon there's too much, like, of too many people saying different things sometimes.
Yeah. Maybe
Yeah,
maybe we'll need to get on the jar train and just get
Simplify it.
suspension that has only 2 different knobs.
Yeah, it's so fucking mean.
Don't need
So
it.
sick.
I'm like all sweet if I've just got rebound and compression, but once you start adding like high speed rebound or like high speed compression, low speed compression, and then like it's just it melts my brain.
Yeah, well, there was a really cool video I watched from Cam Zink, and I'm not trying to plug my suspension or anything like that, but Cam did like a comparison test, I guess, for like just the general consumer and stuff like that, where he went with like the Marzocchi 58 and then the Fox 40, and going through like, you know, setting up the dials and stuff like that between the two forks. And it was like basically, you know, he did explain in there, like in the Fox 40, once you get like the low speed and the high speed too far apart from each other, that it starts not working the way it should anyway. Like you shouldn't have them like too differed, which is something that I didn't know about as well anyway. Like, you know, I might run like heaps of high speed compression for like all those big bumps and then leave the low speed open so that it was like nice and subtle. But I've now learnt that apparently it doesn't really work like that. And you need to have them a little bit closer together and just fine tune it. Which was like, you know, then he goes on to like the Marzocchi and was just like, well, you know, all we do is just go this one, and yeah, I guess being less complications, and especially not being a racer himself and just being a free ride guy now anyway. Like I guess it kind of makes a little bit more sense, but but yeah, it does get complicated unless you really know your shit properly. You can't play around with stuff too much because it's not going to make sense and it's going to start reacting the opposite way to the way that you want it to.
Yeah,
So,
and that like
yeah. This is a funny conversation between two people that don't know heaps about suspension.
yeah, it's pretty good, eh? Pretty good.
Well, it's like the funny thing, like, because I went from on my Giant, I had the DPX2, which had all the suspension tuning in the world. And I went to that Oland's, which only had like a compression and rebound, but it had 5 clicks of rebound, like on the rear shock. That was it.
Is that it?
Yeah,
What
and it was
shock was this, sorry?
the Oland's TTX
Okay.
M2 or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was basically fast, kind of fast, medium, slowish, and slow. And you could tell the difference, and then you just go, oh, that one feels better. Done.
They're
That
like
was it.
quite big jumps in the clicks.
Whereas the Fox
I think-
would have 22 clicks in the same range.
Yeah.
So there's at least 4 different dead clicks there, at least.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah,
confuses people more.
If I ever change like a setting on my shocks, like I usually have to change like 2 or 3 clicks before I'll like personally even notice anything.
100%.
That's maybe just because I'm not that good at picking it up, but like I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just it's all like very confusing. The one thing that my brother taught me is that like they do it with moto, and he said that there's no reason it shouldn't be the same for a mountain bike. Is that like everyone just overlooks their shock, like their rear shock,
Yeah.
so they'll like try and get their fork set up first. But then if your shock's not reacting how you want it to, then basically you'll just be chasing your tail trying to get your forks to feel right. So like they always start with getting their shock dialed in and then get the forks dialed in to match it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how you like where you begin with that, but it's like
It kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
It does make sense.
Yeah, I don't know why, but they just said that just works the best. And I've heard some other people that I've spoken to that have like suggested similar things, so that must be the thing to do, I guess.
Well, I always go like rear shock. Like I don't really care too much what the fork's doing. It's almost like I like a dirt jumper set up on a trail bike. I just want it to not be up and down, like and dive and do shit. Like I hate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than that feeling of just like diving into everything. And I think that was it was with my new setup. I was doing that like before I got everything dialed in, and I was just like, oh no, that's right. It was on my trail bike when I bought the Remedy, and I hated the bike so much. I like did one lap and it was just diving into everything. And to be honest, I don't even know what I really did. I didn't really change all that much. I went to go put more tokens in because I thought that it didn't have any because that was what was going on. Pulled it apart and it was already maxed out with tokens anyway. So still don't really know what even happened. I think I've ridden that bike twice, but you had to pedal uphill, so I haven't really put too much time into that bike.
That was a really good story, right? It kind of just like started off
Sorry,
going
guys.
somewhere great, and then it's just like yeah.
Yeah, well, I hope that got everyone excited that loves trail riding. Like, yeah, this is good. This makes sense. I'm having the same problem with my bike. What did you do to fix it? Oh, you just stopped riding it.
Stop pedaling up hills.
So yeah, that's how I think everyone should deal with their problems. If it's too hard, just forget
stop.
about it.
We should just give people more tips like that throughout the podcast, and then everyone will come away with absolutely nothing.
Yeah,
Just sit here
perfect.
for an hour and a half, and be like, "Yeah, cool." Thanks, guys.
Oh, cracker. Well, I haven't got really any suspension knowledge, so I'm pretty happy to move on from this topic unless everyone else has anything more they want to contribute to what we don't know about. But
let's go the complete opposite direction and talk about something that doesn't have suspension.
okay.
Darren, I've heard you talk a couple of times about being friends with like Ryan Lloyd, and then Jai mentioned that you know Matt Holmes pretty well. So I feel like that somehow you've got this like tie into BMX. Do you ride BMX yourself? Like, have you just grown up with those dudes, or like what's the go? Tell us more.
Well, I was pretty much like born. I was born pretty much like 9 feet tall. So I've never ridden a BMX. Like, I've always been too big for them. So I rode DJs and stuff at skate parks.
Yeah.
And then, basically all my mates so we grew up around that BMX scene. Like we just had a guy that I service his bike now. He was a skater back in the day, and he got the skate park built in my local town, which was actually, it was pretty rad. So we had people like Mozzie, Ryan Lloyd, like all those crew coming down, and like Holmesy would be shooting at the skate park.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of where I grew up, was like in that BMX scene.
Where was that?
SA, so like Mount Barker, Adelaide, Murray Bridge. Like we just travel around, cause havoc, like just P-platers in K70s, just ripping skids.
Oh, we had a huge scene of that back home in Vic as well.
Yeah. Was the scene pretty strong back then, or was it like just your kind of core crew just doing their thing, or?
It was pretty strong at that time, eh? Like, because we had City Skate as well, which was big. So that was like your main go-to.
Was this a skate park, City Skate?
Yeah, so it was literally in the center of the city, pretty much.
Yeah. And
it was sick. It was huge. And would have like it'd be where like everyone kind of congregated. So Murray Bridge is, people would travel from Murray Bridge, which is like 80 k's away.
Yeah.
It had lights, so we'd be there till like 12 o'clock or whatever at night, and just ripping it. It was super strong. It kind of died off a few years after that.
Yeah, that's what some of the dudes that I was riding with when I was over there, like, they were kind of saying the scene used to be super strong, and then when that city park like got demolished or whatever, it just like kind of scattered and died off.
Well, we had a dedicated BMX store. We still kind of do. Little Black Bike, which is run by Holmesy's good mate, Matt Hodgson.
Yeah, they're a sick store.
Yeah.
Have you met Hodgie Baxter?
I don't think so.
Yeah, he's a legend, eh? He's a very nice guy.
Yeah, no, I don't think I've met him.
So I actually bought like my second dirt jumper ever off him, because he was at the local store where I was.
Yeah.
So I grew up with him, and he's just like an OG BMX lord.
Yeah.
And shreds mountain bike. Like, I'm pretty sure he was national downhill champion at one point.
Wow.
Sick.
Yeah.
I love it when people just like ride everything, hey. Yeah.
I'll never forget the time like a mate of mine lent him some rollerblades at skate park, and like second run just snapped his wrist.
Oh no.
And every BMX was so dark on my friend for lending him these rollerblades. It was just like the worst time ever.
You guys single-handedly started like the hate for rollerblades.
Pretty much, yeah.
That was the beginning. That was before scooters came involved.
Yeah. Scooters took the heat off rollerblades.
That's cracker. So when did you start riding then? Like, what did you originate on? Did you start on a dirt jumper, or did you go to like mountain biking in the bush, or like how did it kind of come about for you?
Everything. Like, so I grew up in like a place called Nand, which is tiny. I think we had like 300 people in it or something when I grew up.
Yeah.
And everything was real close. So we just rode bikes everywhere. Like, there was no point getting mum to jump in the car and go down the shops or some shit. Like,
Yeah.
so, and there'd be ditches around. We'd just go and dig jumps and like water drainage stuff. Like, you know, like that Red Bull dirt bike.
Yeah.
Back in the day, we basically tried to recreate that in like a drainage, like drift in like a new estate and stuff. So we just dig and ride BMX and
Yeah.
What year was this? Is it
like 2000s.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, sick.
Yeah, like 2000. So I did have a BMX for a while, but yeah, as I said, just way too small.
Yeah.
So, and I kept breaking them. Like, I just break shit. Still do. But yeah, went to mountain bikes after that.
Yeah.
And it was just like a main form of transport. And then, yeah, I had a Norco 125, the
Yeah.
blue one. It was sick. But I did dirt jumps, raced downhill, and commuted on it. Like, just did everything.
Sick.
It was so good.
Did they have like a hardtail class over in Adelaide as well?
Yeah, man. But you could race like, yeah, we had a hardtail class.
Yeah.
I think one of the main requirements was you had to be stoned before the race. I was stuck up for that. Dude, we used to go down like a race run and you'd come around a corner and you'd just come into a cloud of weeds.
Yo,
It was fucking next level. So under 15s, yeah, just coming through. Yeah, we did have like a hardtail. So, yeah, it was next level. It was such a good scene. Like the downhill scene at that time was just as big. It was sick.
Yeah. Sick. I think, Jai, you would have been around for it, but I like pretty much started racing downhill in Victoria, like right as the scene sort of, I don't know, started going downhill itself a little bit.
yeah,
I think, like, stories that I've heard, like the years prior to when I started, it was like huge.
Yeah, it was massive back in Victoria. But then like I got the stories from like the older guys as well that were above my age as well. So like Matt Swan and Alex Swan and stuff like that,
Yeah.
even talking about like the national series and everything. And they're
Yeah.
like, you guys don't party. Like we partied. And it's like that typical story of like there's just, you know, getting kicked out of nightclubs and climbing back up like drain pipes to like get back in and all that sort of shit. Like pretty standard. But I had like the same thing happen at national champs when I was a first year junior. I got blackout drunk and like literally like a cartoon, you know, when they get picked up by the bouncer and thrown outside. I was like fully had that happen and like crept back in. And yeah, so I guess like we still had a fucking party scene as well. But yeah, the race scene, I remember like the first couple of my races, we had a race at Eildon. And it was the first round of the series, and it was the first time, I think maybe the only time, that the Vic Series had to like cap their race because they had 400 entries into the event
Shit.
for like a 2-day event, and it pissed down rain all weekend and fully fucked the track.
Was
And
that the
then,
last
like,
time that they raced Eildon?
Yeah, I reckon it probably was the last time they raced Eildon.
Because that would have been literally the year before I started racing.
Yeah, it must have been. I can't think of what year it was. I think I was still a first year junior.
Like 2011 or something, or 2010?
Yeah, 2010 or 2011. I think I was a first year junior in 2010. So I guess fuck, it was 11 years ago. Oh God. I still like to think like I'm the young guy, but you get pretty aware when you're here in Queenstown and everyone's like 20, 21 and throwing down. You're like, okay, yeah, maybe I'm starting to get past that peak. But yeah, so that race turned on its head, and I remember they had to change the racetrack like maybe half an hour before race runs. They had to bunt a whole new trail in. Some people had never even ridden the new line and like still tried to turn right, go through the bunting, because the ruts just got so deep that you couldn't get through them anymore, and it was just causing chaos. Yeah. But yeah, so that year, I think it was like the 2010-2011 season was probably the biggest that we had in Victoria, and it was insane. It was sick. And we had like a lot of the interstate guys like Tom Crimmins and McMillan and Connor Foon was coming over and stuff like that as well. Yeah. Just because we had the premier kind of like race series. But I don't know what it's like now. I haven't been there in years, but...
Well, right now, like the VDHS is basically the national series.
Yeah.
Like, it's on the up and up again.
Yeah, that's sick.
Because it was big when I started, and then the main sponsors got the boot, and a particular new headline sponsor got brought on. And I don't know if it's by coincidence, but from then the whole series kind of started going down in numbers.
Yeah.
And then now that said sponsor is no longer involved, and we don't have a national series, and like I think you get national points for the Vic rounds. Now they're back up to like 350 entries.
Yo, that's
which
sick.
is sick.
You
Yeah,
get national points for racing Vic races now.
yeah, because there's no national series. So like the Vic.
Oh my god, what has happened?
Well, it's also like they're the only races outside of national champs and Oshis you can get UCI points.
You get
Yeah.
In
UCI
Australia.
points at
Yeah.
Vic races.
Yeah,
Holy
Yeah, because they're
shit.
they count as like national level event. So it's like, it's the only place you can get UCI points.
That
It's
is
been like that for the
insane.
last 2 years, 3 years,
No
2 years.
Hey.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it costs the club event like holders $2,500 or something to be able to do that. I
Yeah,
think
right.
off the top of my head. Yeah.
VHS
What's
is
it
holding
doing?
it
Just
down.
to bring more riders in from interstate.
The advantage of doing it is that the National Federation don't have to run an event.
Yeah, but like I guess, well, what are the clubs getting out of it though? Other than like, I guess
Oh.
I hope that they're getting more numbers to like make it justifiable.
Yeah,
But-
that definitely are. I think like since we became the national series, we're just getting like everyone that would normally come to a Vic round, and then on top of that, everyone that would normally travel to go to a national round is just coming to Victoria.
Yeah,
It's like great if you're Victorian.
yeah, for sure.
Well, like I think the whole premise of this new system was to have a national series or a national competition where people didn't have to travel as much because local clubs could hold their own national events,
yeah,
Yeah,
if you know what I mean. But then it only ended up being Victoria that really have national level
Yeah.
events.
Oh, so I've got.
okay.
I've
You
actually
probably
got,
know way more about it than me, Darren.
No, well,
I'm just like,
I've got a really good story on this. So like years
This is
ago.
gonna
good
be
as your
like-
suspension
yeah,
one.
it's gonna be like your last story, Joe.
No.
Down it was
This is-
good. Then I
This is
stopped.
a story about how like the first national round got combined with the Vic series.
Oh yeah,
So years ago, I was heavily involved with the Fat Tire Flies, which is like Victoria's biggest mountain bike club.
yeah. That's how we
um,
met.
Yeah, that's how we met. And then we went on from that to I joined the Victorian State Series committee, like for the DH series. And I probably only did that for like a year or something like that. Basically just kind of like sat in for some meetings and stuff like that. And then joined a subcommittee with MTBA. I guess this is some stuff that people don't even have a clue that I even did, because I only did it for about 12 months. And I was like, fuck the politics, I'm out.
Yeah.
But one thing I raised with them was that I really saw like a potential, because like with the national series, it was always really hard to get riders to those events, especially when it was events down in Tasmania. Like there was one year where they had the Oceanas and they had like 66 entries or something like that, because it was a standalone event and there was nothing, it's only if you're chasing points to go and race the World Cups that you're going to pay that kind of money to go and do it. You're not just going to go and rock up to a national race and say, hey, I'll give it a crack. Here's like $250, $300 worth of entry fees.
Yeah,
Once
but if you
start paying for the
combine
additional practice.
if you combined it with a Tassie state round, you'd probably only get an extra 10 people.
Well, yeah, but there's not a lot of people in Tassie.
No.
But basically, like what my plan was and what I kind of like put forward to MTBA and our Vic series and stuff like that is I wanted to see that like the state championships, which were standalone events that weren't going to like affect series points and stuff like that, that if you were, depending on where your license was registered to, like which state, because there was always going to be complications like, oh, you live in Victoria, but you were born in Queensland or something, like, what state do you represent for like state title championships and stuff like that. So if you just went off where your MTBA membership was registered, what state you were registered to, then that would be, what state you're representing. Then it doesn't fuck with points. You can still have like, your Victorian state champ, your New South Wales state champ, your SA state champ. And then it's just like a little piggyback for the national champs to come and jump onto, and you can get points for the overall series and stuff like that as well. The only issue was no other states wanted to jump on board. So it ended up just being, Victoria tried to do it. And I remember the first year they did it. And I argued with them when they did it because they combined it with our state round, which fucked with our points system and stuff as well, because you had like the interstate riders and stuff coming over, which is all fine and good. They got points towards the series. But then there was complications when people, when you're at national champs or national rounds, you have to compete in your own age group. But I remember Jackson Frew was one in particular. Like, he competed in his age group, but then the rest of the series competed in the elite category, and then his points were carried over onto like the elite category, which I think from memory it probably wouldn't have affected it too much because of his position that he got versus where he would have got an elite. It was pretty similar. So it was like it didn't really change too much, but it's like, it could have been far worse. It could have been, you did really well in the under-19s category, but you were like 20th in the elite category or something like that.
Yeah.
So it needed to be without points. But
lucky we have fast juniors.
Yeah, it's insane. Well, you were probably racing juniors almost at that point too. But well, you were the first national round. Of course, they picked the best track to do it on in all of Victoria, and they had a national round at the Yangs.
Oh yeah, I raced that. Yeah.
So anyway, so that was how the state series ended up combining with the national series in the first place years ago. There you go.
Was the Yangs one the first one that we combined with?
Yeah, and then I think the next one that they did do it as a standalone event, and it was at Mount Taylor in Bairnsdale, like Gippsland Way.
So, that was the same year though, wasn't it?
I think that was the next year. I think that one was that was actually a state championship. I'm pretty sure the Yangs was the first one, and then Mount Taylor was the next one. I think, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I have to fact check.
I know.
I know I didn't go to it.
Because the only other thing that they had done similar to that prior was like remember when they used to have like, I know they did at Mount Buller, like one weekend they would have a national round, and then the following weekend they'd have a state round.
Yeah, that was like sick. I frothed that.
I didn't like it at all. Because like if you came down for the national round and then like stayed for the state round, you've just been riding the track for like a week straight.
Yeah.
Whereas like if you could only do the state round, then like you're just getting absolutely smoked by these people that like aren't even from your state.
Yeah.
And have just been riding the track for a week.
Well, I think what happened when that first happened was like a few years ago. Again, I was in juniors at this point as well, and they did the state round first, and then they did the national round the weekend after. So if you wanted to get extra practice, those guys would come down for the state round beforehand and then race the nationals afterwards. But I remember I going to like the state round, and I go on tangents all the time. God damn it.
That's good.
I got down to the state race, did that, and then like went back to work for like the Monday. And then I think the Monday night we're having like a going away party for our mechanic. He was leaving to go back to the UK.
Yeah.
So we did that. I called in sick the next day because I was like, oh, well, I know we're going to be partying. I'm not going to work the next day. So I called in sick. And then while we were like hungover, hanging out on the couches, me and do you remember Fabian Bill at all?
Yeah. Did he used to be on Wolfpack?
Yeah, part of the Wolfpack.
Yeah.
And him and I were like sitting on the couch hungover. And we're like, you know what we should do? We should go back to Mount Buller and see if, like, the lodge that we were staying in, because we had it booked for, like, that weekend and then the following weekend, see if it just has the same code. And then we'll just go and stay in the lodge all week by ourselves.
Sounds like a very dry story.
And call in sick for work. And what we did is we just kept the tags from, like, the shuttle, like, from the race the weekend before that were on our bike for, like, the chairlift.
Yeah.
So we ended up, like, hanging out, because at this point I was earning no money. Called in sick, told my boss that I had tonsillitis, went out to Buller, stayed in the lodge. We found like I don't know what it's called, a storage room underneath at the bottom of the lodge full of food. So we were sorted for food.
And this is why Mount Buller doesn't make any money.
And then just used our lift passes all week, and they didn't check them. And it was fucking sick. So it was just a whole free week of riding bikes, eating free food, free lodge. And then my boss is calling me while I'm on the chairlift, like asking if there's a chance I'm going to come back. And I'm like, oh, look, I'll let you know how I'm feeling tomorrow, but I'm really not doing good. Like, I don't think I'm going to make it in. A beautiful day on the chairlift. Fucking sick. But so that's why I frothed having the double header. It was mean.
Yeah, well, your story is a lot different than mine. I think when I did the first double header, I rocked up to the state round or the national round or whatever was first time racing Buller, and just had a hugie before on that like real narrow traverse before you drop down to the wall ride. and it's like clipped a pedal on the inside bank and like cartwheeled off the side of the track and broke like 4 ribs. And then just went home. I was like, fuck this place.
Oh yeah, I still like Buller. That doesn't look like it's changed all that much when I watched the video footage from the other day. Which I remember people were still saying that when I started racing there, that it hadn't changed.
Yeah, it hasn't changed for like 45 years.
Yeah.
The only thing that's changed is they put in those 2 new like bright yellow and green road gaps.
Oh yeah, that was a few years ago now too. Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It's interesting that they don't like build that place up, hey? It seems like it's only really like Threadbow, Medina. Well, Threadbow hasn't changed that much either, really, has it?
Yeah, well, Threadbow's got a whole lot. Well, so same with Mount Buller. There's so many regulations to try and like get anything down there. Threadbow was really difficult, and we were there for like 5 years or something, like with dirt art. I think I did 3 seasons there, and like 2. It's pretty tight with the restrictions that you have with national parks and stuff like that is what you can do. And we had like inspections pretty regularly, making sure that the mice that were up there were still safe.
We weren't bloody taking out too much ranunculus.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot. I can't remember what its real name was.
It's actually called ranunculus.
Ranunculus? Is that what it was? Ranunculus?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god. I feel like we need to fact check that because I don't believe it. Jamie, pull that up. Yeah. Crack up. But
when are you getting an assistant, Darren?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah. When I start making money for myself, probably.
Yeah, perfect.
Film guy. Studio.
Yeah. Studio. You can fly us all into your studio.
Oh yeah.
For sure. Jai come visit us from New Zealand. Perfect.
I don't know, but that current studio that you're in at the moment, that Canyon bike at the back there looks very nice.
You love plugging sponsors.
Oh, I can't.
My sponsors.
I can't see it.
You're looking for one, so you're just gonna hit up Daryl.
I know. Hey, Jai, I know a guy. We know a guy.
I think I spoke to Daryl about it years ago, and he was like, "You're not really our cup of tea."
Yeah, it's because you came and stayed with us in Rotorua and you just brought different girls home every night.
It wasn't different girls. It was one girl, and I fucked it up, and we're not on talking terms, and she lives in that town over at the moment. That sucks. Yeah, she was good. I saw her when I was in Rotorua last time. We went and got a coffee from her at the Redwoods. Yeah, she's moved over here. I know we go too deep now. It's like it's gonna get caught. I'm gonna get caught up into some trouble here.
Moving on.
Okay, so segue. So the bike's great. Canyon, they've been sponsoring the podcast for a while now. What's it been like getting all the sponsors and stuff on board? Like, I guess going from what you did, like starting it as a bit of fun on the side to bringing everyone on board, and what's that like transition and everything been like, trying to make it a real job now?
It's been pretty...
Hey, Jai, you should just keep asking questions and stop telling stories. That was great.
Way better than that suspension story. This year's been pretty surprising, actually, because I've had people approach me, which has been weird. But Daryl like really helped out, like, because I was almost at the point where I couldn't do it this year, just due to financial reasons. So to have him come on board is sick. It's grown heaps. It's kind of weird because it just happened. I guess, like, from the outside perspective, it all seems to happen at once, if you know what I mean. Like, it's one of those, like, it happens overnight, but it's taken 10 years type thing.
Yeah.
Whereas here, it's like every step is kind of, it's a week-by-week thing, so I don't notice how much is growing. It's kind of a weird thing. But it is sick.
What do you do outside? Like, you just run your garage and do the podcast? Or, like, what do you do for work outside of the podcast?
Pretty much that. Like, I got sick of having shit bosses, so I basically like quit my job, went up in flames last year, went full time Otherwell, and just fucking said goodbye.
Just turboed out of there.
Yeah, did it all via text. It was good. Super professional.
That's perfect.
That
must have been a great boss.
Yeah, we won't go down that path too much, but It wasn't great, and I was just sick of. I don't get along with bosses.
Yeah.
I maybe lasted a job for like 12 months, if that, and then I'm like, nah, I'm done. So
Yeah.
took my last paycheck, just bought a bunch of tools and opened up my garage and promote that. Do the podcast.
Have you been in the bike industry for a while then?
On and off, like since I was 16. Like I did work experience at jobs, and I've always been keen to work at shops and riding and all that type of thing, event management, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it really went deep in it like the last 5 years.
Yeah.
So, because I came back to Australia probably 5 or 6 years ago, and then just hit up a guy, and I'm like, how do you get into the scene over here? Because I was pretty deep overseas, and then he just gave me a job, and I went from there.
Yeah.
So yeah, now I'm riding for Revo, got the podcast, and run my own store. So
sick. That gives us heaps of questions for you.
If you don't mind me asking, yeah.
Sorry,
How old are you, Darren?
I'm 32. Yeah.
Okay. And what? So I'm gonna recap on a few things that we've already talked about really quick. But how old were you when you started riding to begin with? When you were riding those jumps and stuff like that,
Dude,
fucking
like
around
10,
at home?
10 and 12. 10. Yeah. From a kid.
20 years of experience. That's good.
Yeah, still shit, but 20 years of riding a bike.
Yeah.
And then so you got into the bike industry at like 16. So that was 10.
Kind of in and out of it.
18
so
years
I've been
ago?
in it for a while.
No. Oh my God. So wrong.
16
14
years ago.
16. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, we got there in the end.
Yeah. So where were you living overseas then?
Yeah. So basically, like, I wasn't good at school. Well,
yeah.
It's kind of a weird one. Like, I could be good at school, but I just hated it. Same as I hate bosses, I hate teachers, and that shit.
Yeah, I feel that one.
I didn't get into uni here, so I went and did a year of exchange in Japan.
No.
Oh, sick.
Oh, that's right. You speak fluent Japanese, don't you?
Speak fluent Japan.
Fluent Japan, man.
Jai doesn't even speak fluent English.
It's all right. I started saying Argentinian, they're from Argentina or something like that recently. I learned that the hard way, that it's not Argentina. But so going on with more geography questions. So Japan, let's hear about that.
I went there for a year, and I love that place. Like, it's my home away from home. Just a sick place. So
how old were you when you went there?
17.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, so went there solo, like on an exchange program.
Mm-hmm.
Frothed on it, loved it. Ended up getting into uni over there.
Yeah.
And I lived there for 4.5, 5 years.
Sick. What were you studying?
International business and communication.
How's that going right now?
It's one of those stories. Like, I did have a job in it, so I was working for like a fashion company and a music company over there, and it was like everything up until I got the job was sick. Like, I loved it, and then you get the job actually working in it, and it's just shit.
Yeah, well, but right now you're like running a business and you're talking to a guy in New Zealand.
Yeah, it all worked out in the wash, but like. It was like at the time when I actually had like a formal job in it, was kind of shit. So I bailed on that and came back. And then, basically now I do the same thing just for myself.
Yeah.
So did you learn Japanese before you went over there, or did you start to learn it as you went over?
I did some in high school, but like wasn't fully prepared or whatever because high school.
Yeah. Was that why you went to Japan of all places? Because you had a little bit of a backstory on language, or?
Yeah, pretty much. Like, I didn't think too much of where I wanted to go, but I had an inlet for Japan because of my teacher for Japanese was sick and she helped me out heaps. So it was kind of the easiest spot for me to go.
Yeah.
And it's what I knew most about. So yeah, I did want to go other places, like obviously Whistler and other kind of Europe and stuff like that. But everyone does that, if you know what I
mean.
Yeah.
And you can speak English in most of those places.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. As long as you can greet people in their language, they're like happy if you fail miserably after that.
Yeah, pretty much. Whereas like in Japan, you can't survive with
Japan. Yeah.
So,
right. What's it like even in Tokyo now? Like, is that still like heavily Japanese that you wouldn't be able to speak English?
You might get away with it, but like they all speak broken English. Like, it's pretty
okay. Yeah.
So you really need to explore Japan to its full extent, you need to know Japanese.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Otherwise, you just hit up tourist areas the whole time.
Yeah.
Which is shit. So.
That's probably like similar to if you went anywhere though. Like if you really dove into Europe and went places that not everybody goes, you're probably going to need to know some different languages.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, like I spent 6 months in Germany during that time as well.
Yeah.
And I had some German mates, and there is no way I would have gone to the clubs and dodgy as fuck places we went then.
Yeah.
Just because I wouldn't have. It would have been scary, but
Yeah.
because it literally looks like you're about to get robbed on every corner.
Yeah.
But you just go there with like those mates, and it ends up being sick because you end up in this underground bar in the middle of Berlin that you wouldn't have found. Like it's just rad.
Sick.
Yeah. Local knowledge is always the best, I reckon.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
For sure. It's sick. I remember Tom Mallet and I going pretty we were exploring Hong Kong, and that was pretty fun. Finding some pretty cool underground bars. We thought it was a karaoke bar. Turned out it was a beer pong bar. That was fucking sick.
That's way better.
Yeah, I was stoked. But yeah, no, that was the end of that story.
It is like that, eh?
My contribution to like foreign travel.
Come on, Jai, you've travelled a bit.
I've been to Whistler. So I haven't been to Canada. I've been to Whistler.
Yeah. I've been to Whistler. Oh, actually, no. RS Montanan, that counts as going to Canada, doesn't it?
That's France, isn't it?
Yes. I was so confused when I got there, and they were like speaking like this weird French, and I was like, I thought I was in Canada.
Did you know that was like a thing before you got there?
No, I had no idea. I was like 17 and oblivious to the world.
Just get on the wrong flight.
Yeah, because Remy and I nearly missed our flight to get there, because we were just faffing in the airport. The classic Remy move. And then I got off the plane. I was like, what the fuck is going on? I quickly realized, but yeah.
That's so funny.
Because that's a whole different like dialect of French as well. So even if you know French, it's not exactly 100%.
Well, that's it. I was just like, didn't know what the hell was going on. Like, took me a good minute to be like, oh, okay, they like speak like French Canadian or whatever it is. Yeah, crazy. I'm sure Remy knew, but like he doesn't. He doesn't tell you much.
No,
he just assumes people know things.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Crack up. So Japan, 6 years was it?
Yeah.
Did you say? Yeah. 6 years. Wow.
I came back.
Did you ever have like a partner over there or anything like that? Like, did you fall in love? Have you got a good love story for us?
I would say it was a love. I did have a partner for like 4 years.
Wow.
And then I was kind of like, I'm 22 in a foreign country with a partner. I feel like I'm missing out on some things here.
Mm-hmm.
So, I reckon.
Yeah. So I ended up, splitting up, which was pretty hard, but after that, it was basically a free for all, to put it simply.
That's the real reason you ran away back to Australia, isn't it?
Yeah. Child support's a bitch in Japan.
Just getting rolled.
No,
Jesus.
But like, if you ever want to learn a language, getting a girlfriend or chasing love is probably the best way to do it, because you really want to learn how to speak then. So
yeah. It gives you a good incentive.
Yeah.
100%.
Might give that a go and try and learn some new languages. See how that goes. You guys can check in with the next podcast and see if I've got a girlfriend or anything.
Try and learn some New Zealand, Jai.
Learn to speak Kiwi. Oh man,
yeah.
So many people don't even think I'm Australian over here, because I think I just adapt to what everyone talks around me. And it was all good when I first got here, because everyone was foreign in this place, and like you hardly were even with Kiwis. But now with COVID and everyone getting booted out, most of my friends are all Kiwis now, and I definitely started picking up a lot more of the language. But
well, you've come back to speak Australian on the podcast, at least. You don't sound like Kiwi.
I haven't sounded Kiwi on the podcast.
No, not really.
Oh, sick! That's mean, bro.
It looks like a good life over there for you, though. Like, it looks super fun.
It's been insane. I'm like, I know I probably talked about it last time as well, but last time I was all injured and now I'm injured again, but it doesn't really matter. But
That's what happens when you fall on your face on Dream Track.
yeah, I guess so. To be honest, I think I'll probably let you put in that little insert at the start. We'll see. We'll talk about it later. But if you didn't hear that, man, you missed out on a good story.
It was heaps better than the suspension story.
Yeah, way better than the
started off
suspension
strong and faded.
No, this is insane. I fucking love it here, and I'm like kicking myself that I didn't come over here earlier because, like, everyone kind of, I don't know, I've got like a different outlook on like, I don't know, some things, life and work and everything like that as well. And it's very different to what my dad's opinion is. He, like, you know, heard that I was getting into trail building and going to be driving excavators and stuff like that. And he's just like, oh, that's great. You'll be able to get into earth moving and make plenty of money doing that. I'm like, no, I don't want to go dig trenches. I want to go, like, do something I enjoy doing because you spend most of your time at work. So you might as well do something that makes you happy. And then you might as well live somewhere that makes you happy as well. Because I could still be living in like the suburbs of, like, you know, the eastern suburbs of Melbourne. And like it was pretty handy there because like it wasn't very far to like get to the trails and everything like that, and wasn't far to get into the city if you wanted to get to some mischief. But like having a good like all-round experience and place to live, Queenstown is insane. I live with a bunch of people that all have the same interests and the same outlook and stuff like that. Whether they're a mountain biker or not, they're a lot more carefree and just like living in the moment kind of thing and just being happy with what you've got. And like rent's a little bit more expensive here, but you pay for where you're living. Like I tried to set up my laptop before so you guys could get a view from my bedroom. Well, creepy. I'm recording this from my bedroom. But you couldn't really see because I turned into a silhouette. But I've got like almost 360-degree views of like the lakes and the mountains and stuff from here, completely uninterrupted. So it's like everywhere I look, I'm just like, fuck yeah, I love Queenstown. And I love my friends. And that crash that I had, if anyone saw that video, like you saw so many people there, like down on their knees trying to help me, trying to stop riders, and just so supportive. And, you know, the amount of messages and the amount of people I see down in the street, like checking up on me. It's just a phenomenal place to live. I fucking love Queenstown. It is amazing. It's the best place in the world. It's so good. So if you haven't been to Queenstown, I'm sorry to hear, guys, but you're missing out, and you're not coming because COVID's here to stay for now.
That's the sweetest thing I've ever heard come out of your mouth, Josh.
New sponsor, Tourism Queenstown.
Yeah,
you should tell Tourism New Zealand to hit up this podcast and have a listen.
Yeah, I'll have a chat to my friends at DQ, Discover Queenstown, and see what we can get happening.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about sponsorship for you, Jai.
Oh, for me? Yeah.
Yeah. You just sold it to me. I'm going to book flights tomorrow.
Yeah, perfect. All right, if anyone else wants to book flights, hit me up, and I'll pass you on to the correct travel agent. We'll make sure we've also we're moving into a new house in a couple of weeks, and a few of my friends used to live in there, like Matt Begg and Jacob O'Donoghue and a couple other boys, and we're about to like hopefully sign the lease and take on this new house. And when Queenstown prices were like through the roof, these boys were like squeezing as many people as they could in the house. So at this point, we have a spare bedroom that Matt Begg used to live in, and it's called the Harry Potter room, directly under the stairs. It just fits a single bed, and there's no room for anything else. But perfect. Yeah, so if you want to come over and visit Queenstown, we've got a bed for you. It'll be set up in our spare room under the stairs.
Perfect.
Seems legit.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Is that on Airbnb, or do we have to directly contact you directly?
Slide into my DMs on Instagram at the mothership _.
Can I live under your stairs?
No, that'd be sick. But you guys definitely need to come over here at some point once restrictions.
I've been saying it. I've been saying it for the last 2 summers that I'm going to come visit you, and then it just hasn't happened. So next summer, I'll come.
Oh, we're on.
It's not even that far from you now. Like it's an hour flight.
Well, apparently Tassie and New Zealand are going to open up like a travel bubble because the Tasmanian airport's getting extended, so they can like take international flights.
Where did you hear that from, Baxter? That the flights, that the airport was getting extended.
What are you trying to get out of me right now, Jai?
No, I was just curious. I was just like trying to find out where I should look up that information.
I've actually got a friend that's working working on the build. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Throwing you under the bus a little bit there.
yeah. You are. Yeah, yeah. Thanks.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so yeah, hopefully that works out well. The International Space Station opens up and Baxter can fly over here, which would be nice.
Yeah, International Space Station. Yeah, yeah,
Oh, the mothership will be landing there. That's for sure.
yeah. Mothership
Yeah.
will be departing.
Yeah, I'll come pick you up.
Come pick me up in your private jet.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Well, now that I've lost that frame sponsor, I can't really afford to keep the repayments going on the jet, which is a bit disappointing. So hopefully this new sponsor comes in quick before the repos come and take it, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
That's actually kind of like a funny thing I want to touch on. It seems like there's heaps of people that are thinking sponsorships like full free bikes and like getting paid and all that type of thing at the moment, which I've been reading up on a little bit.
Yeah.
You're millionaires, right?
Yeah, making bank. I don't
Everyone
even
thought
know
that
why
like
I'm
Quinn
working.
had a huge contract, but like they've got no idea what Baxter and I are getting paid. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, go on, Darren, before we really interrupted you there.
No, it's just
Let's
like
talk about sponsorships.
all these juniors and stuff have been kind of hitting me up through the garage and stuff and asking how to get sponsored and do all this shit. I might just ride your bike and have fun for number one, but you're really not going to get much out of it.
I feel like you've had a few people on the podcast probably give similar advice.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I just think it's funny. Like, there's so many myths and stuff about what pro riders actually get and who is actually a pro rider.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure.
Well, it's like you can, if you've got enough money or backing or whatever, like you can just buy yourself a ride on a factory team. Like you don't have to necessarily be like, this isn't all teams and it's not all people. Like you still obviously have to be good, but there's like a lot of people that you look at and you're like, oh, they're on a factory team, like they've made it. But in all reality, they've actually just paid for a spot on the team.
Which is so insane. I didn't know anything about that until I heard about, like, you know, Ollie and Ben's podcast that you did. And then they started talking about that. I was like, holy shit. Like, I didn't even think about that. Like, it definitely helps as a racer, which kind of sucks, you know, if you come from money and stuff like that. Because if, you know, you need to get overseas and race, you know, Europe and stuff like that, and you're like a 16, 17-year-old kid, it is pretty fucking hard to get out there and get your name on, like, the race circuit and stuff like that. So that is, like, I guess, part why, like, you know, some people that do come from a little bit more money are going to have a higher chance of, like, getting onto the circuit and stuff like that. But I guess I'm hoping that with the whole social media movement and all that sort of stuff that's kind of come through since I was in juniors and everything as well. Not saying that I was going to be a World Cup rider or anything like that. I wasn't on that level. But I think that there will be juniors that will be able to come through with that sort of, like, acknowledgement and stuff like that. You can see how quick someone is. But at the same time, that's only, like, you know, you can make yourself look quick in a video as well. But, I don't know. I don't really have, like, I guess, a take on, like, the whole race scene because I've been out of it for so long. But, so I guess that's probably more your direction, Baxter, for sure.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I've been pretty, like, a bit detached from it as well, though. But I get on, what were we talking about? Sponsorship.
Yeah.
Sponsorship.
I mean,
and
even like Cam Zink, if you listen to some of his podcasts and stuff, like, he didn't get paid for years.
Yeah, right.
Legit got stooged out of money by, like, big sponsors. And I think even Sam Hill at one point was working as a plumber during the season. Like, it's next level.
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
Well,
so,
I don't know.
Sorry, you go.
No, you go. I want you to go.
I was
You hang
going to
up.
say, like, I guess from, like, an outside point of view, like, if you yourself don't, like, have any sponsors or have never had any sponsors, like, it would be super easy to just look at these people, like, posting photos of their new bikes and their, you know, whatever it might be, and just be like, oh yeah, they've got it easy. But I don't know, most people don't.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I've never, like, I guess, like, I might as well be honest with, like, my sponsorship, like, kind of programs and stuff like that as well, because I don't have any contracts. I'm trying to think. No, well, I've got no contracts at the moment anyway with anyone. But like, as far as, like, bike deals and stuff go, I never, like, necessarily received any, like, free product myself. I did, like with Kona, I was pretty, like Kona Australia, they were really lucky and would basically give me a bike to ride for a year and then it'd get sold on and that would cover the cost of that bike. And then we just kind of refresh each year. And then my latest contract with Kona was like, I got one free frame out of it sort of thing. And that was about it. And that was, pretty lucky. And that contract did not get renewed. So here we are. And back to the fact that I don't have free bikes anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've mentioned this, but have you got a frame sponsor this year?
That's been so bad. I'm not even meaning to do it like that.
Do you not have a frame sponsor, Joe?
Oh my god! I'm just trying to give like an example of what people are really receiving out there because no one's talking about it.
Yeah.
So my suspension deals and stuff that I'm on, I'm still paying for all my products. Like I pay for everything on my bike. The only free stuff that I'm getting is like my Darko clothing, which Mandy has been amazing with like sorting that out over like the last 5-6 years. But like apart
have you been
from
with
that,
them
like
for that long?
Yeah, it's been a long time now. Yeah, like
Holy shit.
I feel like it's probably been nearly 6 years. I think.
In it for the long haul.
Oh, actually, what am I? I'm nearly 27. Yeah, it's probably been about 5 years or something now.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, just to like erase any illusions and stuff like that out there, like whether we look like bloody influencer mountain bikers just on social media or anything like that, like you don't just get given free stuff. It doesn't always happen like that. So
No.
Yeah, don't think that you need this, you need that because you want to be like making this, on the same deal that someone else is on it. If you're worth it, then the company's going to hit you up and they're going to give you that stuff.
Well, I don't know about if they'll hit you up. I reckon it's like, from my point of view anyway, it's always like you've got to seek, like if you don't ask, you'll never receive kind of thing. That's like how it's been for me generally anyway. Yeah. It's not like I'm just like at home, and I just have Canyon, like Daryl just text me, be like, hey, do you want some bikes? It's like, so like,
definitely not
at National Champs 1 year, I just went over to the tent and just like started having a chat to him. And it just like, it happened that I think I was already on his radar, but like maybe he would have approached me if I hadn't have gone over and had a chat to him. But like, you've got to go out there and seek it. You can't just sit there and expect it all to just fall in your lap.
Yeah, the fact that you even just like went over and introduced yourself and like got to show someone the person that you are and all that sort of stuff as well is obviously also a huge help. And then like I guess like the big thing we talk about this every time, like, well, even like your guests and stuff like that, when you have sponsors on, you ask people about getting sponsors and all that sort of stuff. But it is selling yourself in the right way as well. Like, you don't want to hit up a company and say, hey, I want free bikes. Like, also, there are a bunch of riders out there that are just as good as you, if not better. What sets you apart from those guys that you think that you should be the one that gets hooked up with the deal? So you need to have, like, good reasons why you're different from other people, and whether it's, like, communication skills or... with you, Baxter, like your knowledge of photography and stuff like that as well is also a huge help for when like doing, media projects and stuff like that. What looks good on the bike, what feels good on the bike, plus what's going to look good for a camera, which I'm pretty honest about that. I'm like, yo, this feels sick. Can you shoot this? And I'm just like in the shadows and it's never going to work. But yeah, I guess just like, having a solid think about yourself and, what sets you apart from the other guys is something that needs to be thought about if you're going to start going down that whole sponsorship route. But yeah, just wanted to, I guess, talk about that whole sponsorship and what riders are getting and stuff like that. There are a lot of guys like on the World Cup circuit that aren't getting paid to ride their bike. Like Dean didn't get paid to ride until, like Dean Lucas, until he was riding for Intense, I think, and he did like 2 years on Da Vinci prior to that as like a pro rider. But it was, expenses paid, trips and stuff like that. But, he still wasn't making any money the whole time that he was over there racing his bike. And then you have to come back and work a real job. Like there's a lot of people on the circuit that are on a team that still have to do that. Yeah.
I think if you like sat down and jotted it all down for people to see, like it would be a pretty surprising number of how many people are still having to work, like even if it's only part-time, but just still having to work to get by. Like, outside of racing anyway.
Yeah. And it's so easy to fake that too. Like, you know,
Oh, yeah.
if I wanted to, I could
100%.
just pretend I'm a professional rider and don't have to do a job just by like the photos that I choose to post to show
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone to just think like, you know, he's living the high life. But
Yeah, but it's pretty easy to go out on the weekend and get like 20 banger clips and
Yeah.
shoot some photos and then just like post them all week. And if you didn't post anything about your work, well, no one would know.
yeah. Oh, it was a mean morning riding this morning, followed by
Yeah.
coffee in a spa.
Yeah.
You can all fake it so hard
Yeah.
if you wanted
Well-
to. And that's what influencers do on
Yeah.
Instagram.
Yeah,
Oh my
definitely.
God.
Definitely.
I might
Yeah.
start doing it. I'm going to start like maybe for like a month trial period. I'll just see what. Well, actually, no, I'm injured, so it doesn't fucking matter anyway. People know
No,
that.
it's the perfect time. You can just say you've been riding this whole time, but you're just
Yes,
stuck in
riding
your
with a
bedroom.
broken collarbone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Well,
fine,
you had me fooled, Jai. I missed that one video, so I was just like, he's just like living the dream.
You know, I was surprised because we'd spoken a couple of times since then, and I was like, I was surprised you didn't ask about it, but I wasn't really thinking too much of it. I was just like, oh yeah, whatever, he knows. But yeah, I wasn't going to bring it up and just go, oh, so guess what I did. But
No.
yeah, no, crack up.
News to me.
Dude, I was so devo when I saw you got injured again. I was like,
Oh.
God damn it.
No, I was 100% fine with it. Like I
Okay.
made it through. Like the year before, I had to sit out of McGazza Fest because I had a shoulder injury, and it was killing me sit on the sidelines watching these guys. And then this
Yeah.
summer, you know, I've been going real hard on the bike and riding Dream Track, you know, once to twice a week. It's like, you know, my favorite feeling ever is riding those jumps. So when McGazza Fest came around, I was going to do all the events. I did the chainless race, did like the train on Skyline and stuff as well, and then came around and, you know, actual Dream Track, and I was like, that was my main event that I wanted to ride in. There was a Gorge Road session after that, like the next day, but I've only ridden Gorge Road maybe once or twice this season on my BMX, and that's about it. So I wasn't really fussed if I missed that. And I rode the whole jam until the very last jump in the train, and it was on like, you know, get credit to everyone else, but it was on the jump that like we built, you know, as a crew. So I couldn't really blame anyone for building the fucking jump.
Yeah.
And made it all the way through. I like spanned that jump like every single lap, bar two. I think I did like 2 whips on it, and every other lap was like a flat spin. So I had one fuck up, and I'm just stoked that it's only a broken neck. Like it's not that it's only a broken collarbone. Because it was a suspected broken neck, and like they suspected I had a broken humerus and like shoulder blade and all that sort of stuff, and to come away from that crash with just that, I'm like, man, I don't care. I got to ride the whole jam, and I don't have a broken neck, so I'm pretty fucking like grateful and stoked for the position that I'm in right now. So I'm honestly not fussed at all. It's fucking sick. I'm the happiest I've ever been while injured.
Sometimes it's like injuries, you can use them as like a nice little reset, like when you're going real hard for a while, and then like you get injured, and it's just kind of like, right, mate, just like sit the fuck down for a few weeks, take a chill, and like you'll come back all good.
Yeah, you come back hungrier and stuff like that as well.
Like, you can't just like keep going like up and up and up and up and up, because at some point you're gonna have to like sit down for a bit.
Yeah,
you gotta pay your tax.
Burn out or crash.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, we all say it's paying your tax. Like, it just has to happen. Like, you can't just keep riding uninjured.
Yeah, sure.
That's it.
Our whole crew over here has been starting to get injured. I might as well give them a shout out because I got an Instagram page that everyone should go and follow. But the Huck Squad, for anyone that doesn't know, it's like basically just a bunch of like the Queenstown locals and stuff like that are all just like ripping the jumps around here, and so many crashes, so many attempts at stuff, and just seeing what happens. And the boys are all fucking pushing it. But we have like myself, Vaughn, Dom, Colin, who else? And David. There's like at least 5 of us that I can think of off the top of my head that are all injured right now. Chad as well at 6. Like we have like our whole like cripple gang at the moment, which is pretty perfect timing for myself because I've got people to hang out with, which is good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so many of us are injured right now. It's classic. So
Sick.
I think my time was coming.
Yeah. Just on that, my laptop's gonna go flat soon-ish. So
Oh no, have you got a charger or not?
well, I can't charge it because I'm running my iPad and it doesn't have a headphone jack, which means that I've got to run that like stupid connector thing. You can't charge and headphones at the same time.
How good's Apple products?
Yeah. Big shout out.
Yeah, I think you need to get like some podcast equipment sponsors.
Yeah.
There's a photography podcast I listen to, Visual Revolutionary, and he ships like a podcast mic and stuff to his guests.
Yo,
that's good.
It's a sick idea.
Yeah. So, and then they just ship it back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So then he gets the best audio every time.
That's good.
Yeah,
why'd you make me go out and buy this then? Yeah.
Why is my bloody thing about to go flat? Because I don't have a mic.
Sorry, mate. I'm shit bloke. That's what it comes down to.
No studio, no mic.
We can't all be gypsy tales.
No assistant.
Yeah. How much battery have you got, Baxter?
9%.
9%. How long does that normally last?
Well, I was on 100% when we started, and that was an hour and a half ago.
Oh, that's terrible. So we haven't got long. We've got minutes.
Well, we've been going for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah, but I feel like we haven't even delved into like that much. There's still so much more to know. Darren went to Japan for 6 years, came back. What happened after Japan? Let's try and do it. We'll try and do it real quick. What happened after Japan?
Quick fire.
Yeah, fire round.
We went straight into the bike industry.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I had shit jobs, and I'm like, fuck this. So I went into the bike industry. And then, I ended up at a big chain store for bikes, pretty much, and got fucked over hard. So this is why the podcast started and stuff. But I got
talk about what chain store that was, or not?
Sorry?
Can we talk about what chain store that was, or not really?
Not really.
Okay.
We'll just say they're one short of 100 bikes.
Okay.
Anyway. They fucked me over. That was like a whole thing. And I was kind of done with that. So I had no money and no job and nothing. So I started this pretty much because I was like, Jace McFarlane can do it. He can talk English and I can talk English and I can ask a question.
Yeah.
And I was like, let's start it. And I just got it done within a week. Used my last severance pay from those guys, bought some mics and YOLO'd.
Sick. Nice. Yeah. I'm glad you did it. You've had some pretty cool guests on since you've been going for what, 2 years now, or just
pretty much 2 years.
Yeah.
Next week or something, I'm pretty sure.
Who's been your favorite guest? I'll put you on the spot. Who's been your favorite guest?
Wait. Because you've been putting out those Instagram stories asking people to vote their top 3 guests of 2020 or anything like that. Yeah. But we didn't hear any of yours. Who are your top favorite guests?
Who's your top 3?
Who are you on the spot here?
Martin Whiteley.
That was a real good one.
He was 5th or 6th, and to have him even respond was pretty rad.
Yeah.
How many do you want? Top 3?
Yeah, and they can't be either of us because I feel like that'd be biased because you're talking to us right now.
So obviously we're the number 1 and 2 for sure.
Yeah.
You guys surpassed that.
Yeah.
You're 0.
What we're looking for is 3rd, 4th,
5th. Yeah. Mad Dog Boris for sure.
I've got to listen to that. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
Again, stoked to even reply to me.
Yeah.
And then Grant Allen every day of the week.
Yeah. His one was sick.
He was like a hero growing up as a kid. Hey, you'd see him at the races and you'd see him at the store. And then I had the pleasure of working with him and then realized he's just like a larrikin that just loves life. And then, do that podcast and share it. And then the article with Revo, and that ended up on a few MX sites and stuff and got a lot of people stoked. So it was really good.
That's cool.
So the happy one was pretty rad.
Yeah, it was really cool to hear that side of the story. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of freeride and stuff like that as well. And just hearing about his whole Red Bull, what was the one in Jinnabon? Red Bull Ride, I think it was.
Yeah.
Then getting that, getting asked to do that New World Disorder stuff, I was like, yo, that is sick. You just like go from nothing to like, hey, do you want to come and be in this like huge fucking movie thing that's gonna like stand the test of time on like mountain bike movies? It's like that's sick.
Yeah.
It's just so humble.
Yeah.
Like you would never know like who he is.
Yeah.
Unless you knew the sport and stuff. It's so good. Yeah. A lot of respect for him. He has to be my top for sure. Yeah.
That's sick. Would you have any advice for people that want to quit their job and get into their own solo business and start working for themselves? Any tips or advice for people out there, young kids maybe?
Are we going through the wrap up questions now, Charlie?
Yeah.
I'm
you're running out of battery.
Yeah, I'm on. It's already gone down to 6.
All right.
Maybe save up a bit of money beforehand so you don't have debt collectors on your front door. But just, I don't know, like after that whole thing with the one less than 100 bikes debacle, I was pretty sick mentally. So I had a bunch of anxiety and depression, like real bad. But I still just did it. Like just don't fuck around and say you're going to do this thing and just do it. Like it's too many people worry about that shit these days.
Yeah.
And I think like I've at least got 5 different clothing company designs on my computer. Like I've had multiple ideas for 1,000 things, but I've never done it. And then just to do this and then to go out and do the workshop and stuff, like it's never been bad.
Yes.
Like if I said no and didn't do it, I'd have a bigger regret than losing all my money and doing what I want to do.
Yeah.
I'd rather be poor and happy than rich and working for a dickhead. So
yeah. That's good advice, I reckon.
But try and do it sensibly though. Like don't do what I did and just fuck off and leave it. Yeah.
But. Well, what did you do to help like deal with that depression and anxiety stuff that you had going on as well? Like, did you just kind of like just keep grinding at it to just try and stay on top, or did you have like stuff that you did to kind of help keep you at ease? Or
no, I was pretty bad to be honest, like real bad for a couple of weeks there.
Yeah.
So probably for a month or so. Like so that was pretty. I don't know, like I guess the other thing was like I had good podcasts and good things to listen to during that time that were of people who had been in shit situations.
Yeah.
And like I figured if I could have the opportunity to do that for one person, then this podcast is all worth it. So like it was a pretty bad time. But I just focused on the podcast, focused on grinding a little bit, and then also making sure I got rest and talked about what was happening and a few other things.
Yeah.
Because literally like it was to the point where I probably wouldn't be here now.
Right.
If it wasn't for that, but that's all in the past. But,
I get that your battery's dying, Baxter, but I've got like some questions to ask.
Yeah, this is a good topic.
But like, did you find it difficult like trying to like record a podcast and like put on a bit of a face and a bit of a voice like when you were doing it, because you had to like kind of try and hide that you're going through that. It's not necessarily hiding it, but it's like trying to put on a professional face and like getting on and doing like your day job. Like, did you find that tricky like to deal with?
Not really. Like I guess for me it wasn't. It was a way of talking about shit and getting inspiration anyway.
Yeah.
So it's almost a positive situation to be in.
Yeah, sick.
So almost gave you like a distraction and a goal at the same time.
Yeah, and like my first ones were with some of like my best mates and guys I ride with and dudes I look up to that are doing things locally. So that also inspired me. And then to have people like Martin Wiley and other crew, and then to see it get more listens and stuff was also pretty positive. So yeah, it just kind of happened. It was a good thing, like it just kind of helped me. I don't know how to explain it. It's a bit hard. But
I think I get it. Like, it's just like something to keep you occupied and keeping like your focus on something as well, and like just driving towards something too. Like it sounds like it was a good thing for sure. It's pretty easy to just bury your head in the sand and just like avoid situations, and it gets worse. But
dude, so easy, hey. I could actually have just sat around, but then it would have been fucked. Like I legitimately would have been wrecked. So to have something to do was pretty good, and to have the support of people around me as well was pretty good. Like that was excellent. Like if I didn't have people say yes, I wouldn't have done it. And
yeah. luckily the mountain bike community is cycling community is cool.
Yeah.
It's pretty supportive. It's like only support. It's like a solo sport that you have to do with other people.
Yeah.
It's such a weird community and thing. Like to get out and ride and clear your head, but then also have people supporting you and stuff is pretty sick.
Yeah.
So be able to spread that as well was pretty rad.
Yeah, for sure.
I think the podcast has been like a super good voice for cycling or mountain biking in specific, like in Australia, because
100%.
we haven't had. There's been no other outlet. Like Dean's been on Gypsy Tales, or like I think Jack was on Gypsy Tales as well. But like for people that aren't at the top of the game, like there's not really any outlet to share the passion, I suppose.
Yeah, and there's so many people that people don't know about and stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
Like, you know, having Mike Ross and stuff like that on, like, you know,
Yeah.
a lot of the people that weren't in that particular scene following those group of riders would have had no idea who he was. You know, Mick Williams with like WRP and everything as well. Like,
Yeah,
there's
he
so
was a
many cool
super
people that you
interesting
brought
one.
on that don't really, you know, they're not really recognized. Like even Nick Hills, like that was fucking sick.
Yeah.
You know, hearing about
Yeah.
Hillsy, like
Shout out to Hillsy.
yo, shout out Hillsy. But yeah, it's like it is really cool to see you like putting all these people to the front and giving them a bit of a voice and recognition throughout the country. So you're doing a fucking sick job with that, and we're super hyped on it. So thank you so much for that.
No, thank you guys. That's right. I guess being like a super nerd, I always like and addicted to Instagram. But like I know what all these people are doing and being in the industry. But then you go and talk to like a mate that I'm riding with, and they're like, "Who the fuck's that?" I'm like, doing more than 95% of the people that are in the hot light. Like, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
So, well, I remember what like the last question you ask, because it's the one that everyone struggles with. I'm trying to remember. Was there more questions in that than what you would normally ask at the end of your podcast? How many did you normally ask at the end of a podcast?
There's like regrets and stuff, but I don't have any of them.
You got no regrets?
No.
Not one?
No
one single letter.
There's a reason I ask it. Is because people always think they should be perfect.
Yeah, okay.
And that was one of the biggest things with my anxiety is I was failing because I wasn't perfect.
Yeah.
But then you got to realize that you can fuck up and it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
So
it's a trick question.
Half the time when you fuck up, like you're the only person that really notices it as a fuck up.
Yeah.
And like you learn so much more from that than doing everything right. So
You know
it is
what?
a trick question.
Yeah, I still find it crazy and sometimes annoying, but the fact that we're still learning every single day and you still make an idiot of yourself all the time, and like 12 months from now, like there's stuff that I've said like, you know, years ago or whatever, and I'm like, fuck me, why did I fucking say that? And then in like 12 months time, I'm going to say the same thing about stuff that I'm saying like now. And I'm like, you're a fucking idiot. Why did you even think that? And that does annoy me a little bit.
Story, and then you're going to be like, fuck's sake.
It's going to go on forever. Or like, why did I have that opinion on something or whatever? And you're just like constantly learning. So yeah, you can't really have regrets in that manner and that form, like, because it's all learning curves. Like otherwise you wouldn't have known, you know, that was the wrong thing to do or the wrong view or the wrong, like, you know, for what you believe now. So yeah, fuck regrets, I guess. And just, man, so, okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense. It's a good question to have in there for sure.
Yeah.
So anyone listening that has regrets.
Well, you've just like fucked your own question now because everyone knows it's a trick question now.
Yeah.
No one's going to listen to me talk anyway. It's all good.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, they are.
But it's good to have the lesson out there.
You're the biggest guy in mountain biking right now in Australia.
Definitely not.
Yes, 100%.
There's this guy called Sam Hill. I don't know
who is he?
He's not doing much, I heard.
Yeah, this guy named Jai Motherwell. He's looking for a frame sponsor. Just hit him up.
He knows a thing or two about suspension. Hey, I heard.
Yeah.
Oh my god! I said at the start of this, I didn't need any new bikes. I'm happy with what I've got. It's fine. But if you're a frame sponsor out there, hit me up at the mothership. _.
And
how many percentages are you at?
I'm on 2, so I'm stressing.
I get it.
The last question that you ask everyone, so we're going to ask you, is what music do you listen to when you need to get a bit pumped up for something? Like before you're going out for a ride and you need to get pumped up, you're not really feeling it. What do you listen to?
So again, this is like something I've learned from WRP lately. It was interesting, but like the arousal curve and how it kind of works. So I used to listen to like death metal, Parkway, like hardcore punk and stuff like that. But I'd always wreck myself. First corner, just too excited and get jacked up. And yeah, so, but if I'm feeling like shit and angry, I'll listen to that stuff. So Parkway, like Helion's, just all that kind of hardcore punk stuff.
Yeah.
Lately, like stoner surf punk, like Dune Rats and that type of thing.
Yeah.
They've been sick. Really digging that like Zero Fucks vibe.
Yeah.
And kind of the rawness. I feel like in today's music, there's too much folk and like that kind of wavy, wishy-washy bullshit.
Yep.
So apologies to anyone out that listens to that. And then like, if I need to find like a flow, like if I'm having a shit day on a bike, where I can't corner or I can't ride or I'm just having a terrible time, I'll listen to something like some old school hip hop, mainly with like a jazz kind of vibe.
Yeah, nice.
So like Jurassic 5 or something like that old school, like just getting that flow.
Yeah.
It all depends on the situation, but music is like it's like a pathway to the soul without sounding too cheesy.
No, I get what you mean though.
I can remember so many
Sound like
experiences.
Double Brie.
Yeah. But like I can remember so many experiences that I just by song and like what it was, and I guess being into music as a young and working in the industry a little bit, it kind of affected me. But yeah, I do think it affects your memories and your motivations. So that's kind of what I ask people. And obviously people have different arousal curves as WRP would talk about. And yeah, it's interesting just to know what motivates people.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well,
that's a good question.
Yeah, for sure. After that, John, the podcast that you did with Mike Ross, and he was talking about songs to get you amped, he was talking about John Wick mode.
Yes.
I listened to that podcast during the day at work, and I was like boosting home like from Wanaka, which is about an hour and a half away, to like come for a writing session afterwards. I was blasting John Wick mode as I was like rocking up to the jumps, getting so amped. I was like, this is fucking sick. I'm going to fucking kill some people. This is going to be insane. And I crashed so much. Lap after lap after lap, trying to do stuff I knew I could already do. But my heart was just racing and I was way over the arousal state. And then hearing like Mick say that, I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. So John Wick mode, great if you really need a hype up. But if you're already hyped, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
100%.
We're on 1%.
Oh,
we're cruising to the finish.
All right. Darren, do you have any last words that you'd like to leave everyone with today, other than what a fantastic bike that Canyon Strive is in the background?
Thanks, Strive, for plugging all my sponsors. Just don't have your own.
The suspension looks really good. Must have been serviced by NSDynamics by the looks of it.
Yeah. I think Baxter's dead.
Oh no, Baxter's gone. He's got a big cheesy grin on his face. Oh, poor guy.
Anyway,
sorry, Baxter. To everyone out there, Baxter is gone. He has left the building. Battery is flat.
But no, I'd just like to say thanks to everyone for listening. Thanks to you and Baxter for being such good supporters and doing this thing. So yeah, other than that, and to all the sponsors that helped me out. As I said, probably wouldn't have a podcast this year if it wasn't for them. So huge shout out to those guys. And yeah, other than that, nothing much.
Yeah, nice.
Been a lot of tangents in this one.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely been going off. Now I'm super stoked with what you've done, what you've created. It's been fucking sick having us all on, and stoked on the scene that you're building around Australia. So thanks, Ace, for that.
Thank man. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Baxter.
See you, Baxter.
Bye. Easy, man. Well, let's end it there. I gotta go piss.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. I'll have a think about that story at the start. I'm like kind of tempted to leave it in because it's funny, but I don't know how sponsors would feel about it. I don't know. Well, I'll give me like tonight to think about it.
Dude, it will go off in a couple of weeks. It's fine.
Yeah, perfect. All right, now thanks for having us on.
Thanks so much, man. We'll speak soon.
Cheers. I'll speak to you later. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.